It seems like every day I'm getting the question from potential new players, should I start playing Diablo Immortal now? Is it too late to start playing now, 2 years after the game has been released? Today I'm going to answer that question, but we're going to go even deeper into it and answer, should you even play Diablo Immortal at this point in time? What is up, my friends? My name is Echo, and I've been playing Diablo Immortal since 2019 when I was invited out to BlizzCon to test out an early alpha of the game. I was looked at as a mobile gaming player that liked action RPGs, and Blizzard said, that guy will probably like our game. Let's bring him out here and see what he thinks. And you know what? I absolutely love the game. It was one of the best action RPGs I had ever played to that time. And I'll be honest with you, I decided to start a channel right then, thinking the game would come out pretty soon afterward. But 2.5 years later, we were still waiting for that release date. In that time, I went through a technical alpha, an alpha, and a beta, testing out all different stages of the game. In the beginning, not even having a Crusader or a Necromancer, then finally having all the classes minus the new 2 that have recently released in the game. And I loved everything I saw. This was all before launch, where I had already invested nearly 3 years into this YouTube channel and having this game be a massive success. So back to the question here, should you play today? Playing on a same server as someone like myself who played for 2.5 years before the game even released and has played it every single day since it has released over 2 years ago. Should you play alongside of me? Can you play alongside of me? And really, is it worth your time? Well, let's start off by saying Diablo Immortal has an insane catch-up mechanic inside of the game. You can get 1,000+ times experience if you're a new player joining today from what I gained when I started playing on launch day, which means you're going to be able to catch up to my level, my regular level, and then the Paragon level, which is beyond your max level, pretty quickly. If you grind it pretty hard, it's not going to be that hard to get to that Paragon level, being able to get a lot of the different powers that get you to similar power as me. But there's a lot of things that you've missed along the way as well that you're unable to attain without putting that grind and time into the game. And I'm not even talking about anything monetary at this point in time, because yes, Diablo Immortal may be one of the biggest pay-to-win games I've ever seen in my life. This is something that we had no idea about during the technical alpha, during the alpha, or even during the beta. We didn't know we were in for on how the pay-to-win mechanic would work. Now, I'm someone that's been lucky, I guess, that I'm not completely driven by being the best and top on the leaderboards. I play because I love the grind of action RPGs more than I love the PvP element, which is actually quite weird because when I think back 2 years ago, I said how badly they needed PvP inside of the game. But now I find myself doing all the PvE or PvPvE elements more than straight up PvP by a long shot. And that's how I enjoy playing the game. But players that want to be some of the top on the leaderboards, they're spending 10, 20, 50, $100,000 on the game. And that is not something that's uncommon, to have legendary gems and normal gems to levels to be able to have that type of dominance. Now, that type of dominance is not just from paying for the win. It also is skill attained over time and grind put into your character to grind up all the gear. So skill is there, grind is there, but also the money is there. It needs to happen. I can be the best player in the world and spend $0 and I am not going to be able to compete. So right off the bat, if you're someone that wants to be on top of the leaderboard and you're free to play, that's going to be a difficult thing for you to do. Now, are there free to play players who enjoy the game greatly and engage in PvP? Yes, it's doable. But once you start going against people with a higher resonance, which essentially means a higher spend inside of the game, you're going to run into a wall. And that's when things don't get so fun, unless if you start spending yourself. And I don't have that kind of budget. But what if you just like PvE? What if you just want to work on a character and build your character class up and really enjoy the grind? Well, that's what I enjoy inside of the game, and you can do all of that, everything, absolutely for free. There's nothing holding you back. You're not going to be top in the leaderboard. You're not going to be top in PvP, but you could have a really awesome looking character. If you want to spend $5 a month, you could even get cool cosmetics for your character. And if you don't want to spend, you'll probably pick up a couple of cool cosmetics along the way that Blizzard gives out for free, like when the Blood Knight came out. Cool cosmetics for all. It was awesome. Speaking of new classes, Diablo Immortal offers things that other action RPGs don't. Because of the amount of money they're making from the heavy monetization methods, they're able to implement updates on a regular basis, a monthly basis actually, and many of those are fairly big updates. Lately they've been a little bit smaller, to be fair, but a lot of times there's some really big ones. December, we're supposed to have a massive update coming where Diablo returns to the game and we finally get to fight him. That sounds fun. It sounds like something I'd like to engage in, even though it's probably going to be a short-lived PvE story mode, and then that's all over. It's still going to be exciting because I've yet to fight Diablo. So really, in a nutshell, if you don't care about being the best on leaderboards and things, then this is a great game. Especially if you want to play free-to-play or low spender, I always encourage people to do the $5 battle pass. If you're spending a ton of time inside of a game, $60 a year is not a big spend and not a big deal. So I like to support developers in that sense. I am not going to go out and spend crazy amounts of money, but some people decide to because that's their choice and that's what they enjoy and that's where they want to spend their money, and to each their own, as long as they're enjoying their stay. So now that you understand that if you're free to play, you won't be the best on leaderboards, and if you want to be the best on leaderboards and you're happy to spend, well, then that's an option for you. I think you get that as a pretty good understanding. But it does have that mobile element to it as well. So I've become very accustomed to this. Log in. Do this, do that, do this, do this, do this, get that reward, this reward, login bonus, all of these different things that come up and are very, for a lack of a better word, very spammy inside of the game. These are things driven to keep players coming back to the game, because if I don't log in for a day, well, I'm gonna miss out on my aspirant keys, or I'm not gonna be able to run the Herodrum, or my bounties are gonna get laid behind, or I'm not gonna get enough dungeons in. These are the things that FOMO me to keep playing every single day. FOMO. Do you wanna play a game because you have FOMO, fear of missing out? Having invested a lot of time into the game myself, I want to log in every day so that I can keep my character where I want it to be, at a higher level, at least how power goes. Now, of course, we're not spending on those gems to be at that top tier, but I want a respectable character inside of the game, and I have that. But it also does require for me to log in for at least 30 minutes every single day. Now, they're a little bit soft there. You can go a day without logging in and catch up on all those rewards the next day, but you have to put in double the amount of time to do so, which is fair. But sometimes there's so many things that you have to do inside of the game every day that maybe some of the events that you want to participate in that don't give you those great rewards, you don't actually have the time to do because you're so focused on the things that you have to do to keep up. But do you really have to do them? The mobile game element of this actually makes you feel like you do have to do them, which is a shame, but it's the model. It's how they put together and how all games put together free to play. Because if it were truly free to play, where there was no way to spend money on it, the game would crash and burn because they can't pay their bills, they can't pay their developers, and you get nothing. So part of me says, I understand why you have to have monetization in a game. I mean, it has to happen. I just wish it were for cosmetics and other things like that. But hey, that's another video. That's another story for a different day. But Diablo Immortal or Path of Exile or Diablo 4? Those are other options. So let's start out by discussing all the Diablo Immortal creators that were covering Diablo Immortal and then jumped ship when Diablo 4 came out. A lot of these people were my friends. Darth Microtransaction, one of my greatest friends on YouTube. He decided to jump ship from Diablo Immortal and go to Diablo 4. And I applaud him because he has seen amazing success in doing so. It was the right decision for him. Almost all of the other creators that tried to do the same thing are gone. Literally not creating content at all anymore. They didn't see the success they wanted in Diablo Immortal. They felt they had a limited audience. And then they went to Diablo 4 and you know what? That was tough. That was a different game right there. A tough YouTube game. But for me, I decided to stay with Diablo Immortal. And the reason I bring all of this up is because it is on mobile and it is on PC. And I am possibly one of the busiest people that you have ever met. Nice to meet you. Hey, having multiple YouTube channels, working full time, coaching my kids' football teams, and having kids and a wife leaves me with very little time. It's why I look so tired all the time. It's because your boy doesn't sleep. But I chose to play Diablo Immortal over Diablo 4 because of the accessibility. I spend a lot of time playing in between things. In between this meeting and this work call and this YouTube video and during this sports game or on the toilet, I play in small binge sessions whenever I can. It doesn't lend itself well for me being someone on a PC version playing Diablo 4 because you tend to need long play sessions, and I am no longer a young dude who wants to stay up from 10 to 2 and grind my favorite game. I'm married and I'd much rather do other things in some of that time. But you understand what I'm saying here? Accessibility drives a lot of people to play Diablo Immortal. Plus, it's free. Now, if you have Game Pass, you could play Diablo 4 for free, right? Because it's part of Game Pass on Xbox. But a lot of people see Diablo game for free on mobile with the PC client as well. Yeah. And if you're the person that wants the best PC action RPG or the best action RPG and console versus mobile doesn't matter, I would probably say, well, Diablo 4 is in a pretty good place right now. Path of Exile 2 is coming out and that shit's not gonna suck. That is gonna be good. And regular Path of Exile, I think is still a boss game right there. Or you could even do a Diablo 2 Resurrected, which is probably the most favorite Diablo game of all time, refurbished and packaged, boop, just for you. Not so bad. For me though, Diablo Immortal fits better. Now, do I get the urge for new games? Yes. Do I get the urge to hang out with Darth Microtransaction and play games alongside of him and kind of build what I'm doing here in his direction? Yeah, I do think about that all the time. But I keep coming back to Diablo Immortal because it's familiar, because of the FOMO. And honestly, if you take the pay to win out of the game, I think we have an amazing game. Would it be as amazing and as successful without that element? Without the way that people can pay and the game can be very profitable? I don't know. I don't know if they would have the funding needed to develop the game the way that they've been developing it. So, to make a long-winded explanation, if you should play the game now or not, my answer is, if you're looking for a mobile action RPG, there is no better one than Diablo Immortal. If you're looking for one that you want to be the best and you want to play for free, Diablo Immortal will be tough to do that. No matter how good you are, or no matter how lucky you are. I could spend an hour talking about how the gem mechanic works inside of the game and makes it impossible for free-to-play players to compete with whales and gem resonance. It cannot happen. So if you're someone that wants to and needs to be number one, but you have no funding to do so, you shouldn't do it. You shouldn't try. If you're someone that has an issue with spending, gambling issue, or just something that you don't have a complete hold of, I would say you probably shouldn't play. But for those of you that have control, have a small budget or no budget, I think there's a lot we can really take from this game and enjoy. I have an amazing community of players inside of the Scrappy Echoes clan. We have a Discord server, we have a clan, we are a casual, fun clan of people that just enjoy the friendships and the relationships. We're on the Iceburn tier server if you guys want to join. Only really looking for higher level players, so if you're watching this, you're probably not one of those high level players, but hey, that catch-up mechanic, it'll get you there. If you're looking for something and you don't care about mobile and you want to spend long binge sessions playing games and you want to buy a game once and then maybe the expansion, sure, you know what? Go for Diablo 4. It's an amazing game. People are loving it right now, and with some of the recent updates, it's in a very good spot. And if you want a free-to-play version of a PC-style action RPG, you could look at Path of Exile. It's old, but it's still very good. And if you're looking for another mobile version of an action RPG, the one that I would probably recommend would be Undecember. It's extremely unpopular. It's extremely good, a lot of depth to it, more depth in many ways than Diablo Immortal, but for me, it lacks community. It doesn't have, there's something about when I play Undecember that I'm not getting when I play Diablo Immortal. So this conversation went a little bit broader than the initial question that you're asking, should you play in the first place? It really is dependent on who you are as a player, who you are as a person, and what you're looking for inside of the game. I can say that I have not put out 1,000 videos over the last 5 years for a game that I don't like. Do I have problems with it sometimes? Of course. Would I have problems with other games? Definitely. Nothing is perfect. I think Diablo Immortal is a solid game. It is a game that is friendly for players that are entering right now, and I think you could have a great time. Hopefully you subscribe to the channel because I put out videos every day telling you everything about this game.